Hey, it's James, Parents' Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. So I think I've done a video on this, but I continue to end up bringing it up in consultation. So I just want to put this out here again and make sure it gets on my YouTube channel. And that is when you're in a deposition or a trial or have a chance to put somebody on the stand, an alienating parent on the stand, ask them this line of questioning. This is what I would do. I'm not going to make you or tell you to ask them this, sorry. But you want to ask them, hey, what's your issues with the other parent? So let's say you got a mom on the stand and you're the dad. Let's say that it's trial and you're doing your own trial. Or, you can imagine this. You got a deposition and you have an attorney doing this or whatever. You ask them, do you think children should have, or you think, you always want to ask basic fundamental questions to get something down. Because if you start asking stuff like, why do you want to let the dad see the kid? You've already jumped way to your end game in the line of questioning. Don't do that, because nobody established that she even cared in the first place about a parent-child relationship with both parents. Get some basic things down. And this is the other thing. Don't ask questions with an assumption that everybody knows what the basic foundations are. You want to pretend that you're starting from scratch and none of the people in the courtroom, in your audience, or anybody know anything about anything in life. So you want to get it out of them that you want to lock in some basic fundamentals. So you ask a question like, do you think parents are important in kids' lives? Now, you might think, well, why would I ask that? Everybody knows that. You have to establish it from that person, okay? You can't go in there and start reasoning with them, or when you question them on the stand, you start arguing with them or whatever. You'll get this in a second. So you ask questions like, do you think parents are important in kids' lives? Do you think both parents are equally important? Do you think that both equal parents should have equal time with the kids? And then, if it's an alienating parent, she'll say yes, yes, no. Why not? They're equal. You said they're equally important. Why would you not want them to spend equal time? And see where that goes. And there's a whole line of questioning to ask about that stuff too. And I'm probably going to I should do a video on trial, or I probably should do a whole separate video on questions. That in and of itself is a big old long thing. But get some basics down like that. And then also say, you also want to ask questions like, what's your daily routine with the kids? Do the kids do chores? How do you deal with disciplinary problems or behavioral problems? Who's the most influential person in your kid's life? And you get her or the other parent to pump up their own parenting. And they think that they're doing, you got them sitting there bragging about their own parenting, bragging about themselves, thinking about themselves. And you're really laying the foundation to be able to set them up. And then you ask questions like, so after you get that stuff established, do you want the children, so let's say we have a mom on the stand, do you want the children to have a healthy, secure, stable relationship with their father someday? Like, let's say you're not seeing the kids, or you were alienated, or you didn't see the kids for a while. Do you want them to have a healthy, full relationship with their father? She has to say yeah. If she says no, then obviously you take her down that way. So why would you not want the kids to have a healthy relationship with their father? It's like, well, he's a bad person. And that's where you get to this question. What if he fixed the issues that you're concerned about? So you ask, okay, let's say she says, yes, I want there to be a healthy relationship. That kind of goes without saying, but you establish that. And then you say, well, She got the healthy relationship out there. What are your concerns about the father's parenting? Oh, well, he's abusive, or he's got an anger problem, he's alcoholic. Okay, let's say that he gets clean and sober. He goes to AA meetings, and he takes anger management classes and deals with those things and treats those things and gets better. How much time do you want him to have with the kids then? And say, oh no, it's still only every other weekend. Why wouldn't you want him to have more time or still I only want, what you could say is, would you want him to have a 50-50 parenting plan then? If he gets these things, no way, no. Maybe he can have every other weekend. Well, you just said earlier that you want him to have a full, healthy, secure, stable, consistent relationship with the kids. Why would you not want to share the kids then? You just said they're equally important. Both parents are equally important. Why would you not want the kids to have both of you when you're happy? Well, he's not healthy. Okay, I said, you said when he gets healthy. The question was when he gets healthy or he fixes it. You told us what the problems were. If he fixes those problems, now what? Now what's your problem? Why would you not want him to have a whole bunch of, regular, consistent, healthy, fulfilling time with the kids? The reason why you ask this line of questioning is because now she's trapped. An alienating parent is trapped. They never had a plan if the problems were fixed. They never had a plan down the road to make sure that you had a healthy, fruitful relationship with the kids. They never had a plan to resolve their problems that they have with you. All they're doing is pushing and pushing. So you could straight up ask, well, it sounds like you don't have a plan for the relationship to get better. It sounds like you're just attacking and pushing the dad out. Is that what the problem is? Or what's the problem? How come you don't have a plan for their relationship to get restored or get better? You're just pushing and pushing and complaining. This is what's wrong with him. That's what's wrong with him. He needs to get out. He needs to stay out. Yet you say you want the kids to have a healthy relationship. Yet you say children need both parents and both parents are equally important. But yet you still want little to no visitation for the father that you said is equally important. Which one is it? What do you really want in the end? So you set them up and you lay the foundation and you catch them. Yeah, children need both parents. Both parents are equally important. Actually, I think earlier in the question I said, do you think both parents are important? You want to say, do you think both parents are equally important in a child's life? So you want to specifically say that. I'm not sure if I said it that way. So you trap her in the foundational stuff, or him if it's an alienating father. You ask them all of their issues, and then you come up with the resolution of the issues. Anger management, you got an anger problem, domestic violence treatment, mental health, if they say mental health. If he's violent, if he fixes his violence and gets it under control, do you want that? Do you want to restore the relationship? Or do you want to get the relationship to an ideal place? And if she's saying no, then what is your goal? So now you got her, instead of saying, why don't you want the child to have a relationship with the dad, like as your first question, now you're caught up in, you're presuming what she's thinking, presuming what she's saying. You have no foundation to your questions. You have no foundation that she wants anything more than what she has now. But if you get a foundation by trapping her in some of this stuff, then you set her up for those questions. There's a million other questions to ask depending on your situation, but anytime you're asking a question to get somebody on the stand, see, this is stuff I've never heard. This line, this is basic legal 101 fundamental stuff. You're dealing with the parent-child relationship, right? So you should start with the basic fundamentals. If you have basketball trials for the high school basketball team, you're going to look at the kids. Can they shoot? Can they dribble? Can they pass? Can they do basic stuff? You're not going to have them out on the court and say, hey, can they run this play and be part of this team? You still have to find out if they got some basic fundamentals down in case, even if the play is not designed for them, if they end up having to take the shot, you want to know before you get them on the court whether you're even going to waste time with them. So you don't just have trials, oh, that guy's tall, let me just put him out there. Well, can he shoot? Is he coordinated? So you'll test on a bunch of basic fundamentals. If you're going to trial, going to court on whether the children should, or whether you should have equality with the children, let's get some fundamentals down. Do children need both parents? I mean, when you go to a criminal trial, everybody on the jury might know the defendant is guilty of sin, but the other side still got to prove their case, show that they were there at the scene of the crime, get witnesses on the stand. How do you know this defendant, or where were you on this night? So you got to establish and lay the foundation the witness was even there. You can't just say, do you recognize anybody in this room? Yeah, that guy over there. How do you recognize it? Oh, he murdered that person. Well, first of all, how do you even know that? Let's establish where you were that night. And then we get a different witness saying they saw you at the skating rink when the murder was at the mall. Okay? You get the foundational stuff out of the way. Like, everybody wants to emotionally jump to the end result. You got to have patience and be willing to set somebody up at a court hearing, or set up your oral argument, or lay some foundational stuff like all the science and data says that children need both parents, and if the father's not in the home full time, the children automatically suffer. So, Your Honor, if you don't place the children with the father full time, they will automatically suffer according to the science. Greater risk, teenage pregnancy, drugs, alcohol abuse, suicide, criminality, all that stuff. They are automatically in a harmful place. First of all, in a broken family. Second of all, if the father's not in the home full time. There's no stats or data out there that talks about a mother full time, a detriment to the child when the mother's not there full time. In fact, we got all this single motherhood out here. We got all this dysfunction, all these problems. The stats say something different otherwise. So, then on top of that, we got some studies and data that talk about shared parenting is way better than this traditional every other weekend stuff. So, you have to come up with something that's way worse. There's a harm that comes with letting me have 50-50 or equality, or me having custody. There has to be a harm that's way worse than the harm that comes with giving me every other weekend. Because that's an automatic harm. That's an uncontested fact. Nobody will contest that. Nobody would challenge that. That's a fact among all the data and all the science that's out there. So you lay a foundation like that at a court hearing. You don't just go in there and argue, well, that's not fair, that's not nice. I need to see my children. I have rights. I have constitutional rights. You lay the foundation of what's an uncontested fact. You say, if you do anything else, you are harming the children. Now you're sticking it to the judge, saying if you do what you were planning on doing here, that's harmful to the children. All the science, all the data. Look at our society. Look at all the absent fathers. Everybody's crying out for fathers to be involved. Here I am. The mother's pushing the father out. I talked to a dad. The judge, like the dad, called the cops on this lady for they have a crime of custodial interference like Washington in this state, and the judge is like, oh, so you called the cops on her. How'd that work for you? And he sneered and snickered at him, kind of a scornful, like, how did that work for you? Ha ha ha, you know. And the judge said, I wrote the order in a way so that it couldn't be enforced. So the judge admitted on the record that I wrote an order that's not enforceable, so I'm setting you up to not be involved, when the intent of the statute in every state is that we want the children to have meaningful relationships with the parents, and he set it up so the mother could continually get away with not having a meaningful relationship, and the order gave him visitation, which is the best interest of the child, presumably, and he set it up so the best interest of the child could not be enforced and followed. That guy should be imprisoned for treason for life and exposed and have a YouTube video like I've had on lawyers and judges. But, you know, that guy's in the middle of his court case. I wouldn't recommend necessarily doing it in the middle of a court case unless you're in the driver's seat. But all these punk-ass bitch fathers' rights movement groups would never do that because they, oh, no, you can go to jail for talking bad about a judge. No, you can't. Not unless he has a unconstitutional court order saying don't do that. Then don't violate that. Anyway, foundational questions.